Hey everyone, so today I am making a video. So I made another video before about the Barbie film, and so, have some grace on me, please. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think about that. And then after this video, I'm going to do Oppenheimer. And the reason why I decided to break these videos up, just because they are just so controversial, and like I love making serious videos and making intense videos, but I also like to, make some lightheartedness too, because I do have an array of an audience, and I just don't want to like keep bombarding people with something that they're not necessarily interested in, So, just trying to like appease all the masses and myself, because I did make this channel for a reason. So, and also I've been just wanting to talk about this series for a while too, so that's also why I had to add it in. But it's the Hunger Games. So for people who have not watched the Hunger Games, it is PG-13. I don't know. I think it's PG-13. I don't know how it's PG-13, just because there's a lot of deaths in it. But essentially, it's about a dystopian world, and Katniss Everdeen, she is the one that's like the main actress. Also, there's gonna be a new film about the president, and I'll talk more about him soon. But yeah, and then there's also a new film, so that's also why I really wanted to talk about it. Just because I read the book, and now they finally making a film. Like, so exciting. Anyway, but yeah, and yeah, so it's basically a dystopian world, and Katniss Everdeen's the main character. And basically, how this world works is that it's called Panem, or it's kind of like the aftermath of what happened to America, like after years and years of people living in wars and, etc. And so it's one big country, and if you want to think about it, each district is like its own little town or country, if you will. So if you really think about it, it's big, but it's also not that big. But it's mainly cities made up of a country, essentially. So, the aftermath of what America would have looked like in the future, basically. Um, yeah, and so basically, the whole premise of the series, and of especially the first book. So there's 3 films and then 4 books, and so the 4th book is more of like a prequel of the series. And so the 3 books are talking about how Everdeen was essentially forced into a reaping. So what that means is that the whole history of Panem is that District 13, for example, well, first of all, there was just a lot of rivaling among the country, among the Panem people, and then District 13 led a rebellion. The basically the capital didn't like that, and they exterminated them, or they thought they exterminated them. And if you read the series, you'll see what I mean by they thought. Because then in later series they realized that, oh, District 13 is still alive, but they're underground. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, and because they think that they exterminated District 13, they made the Hunger Games. So to basically tell their citizens that, yeah, so we're the victors, we're awesome, and because of that, we're gonna basically, and because we're so savages, and because we hate all of you that you try to like, go against our rule, that we're gonna make your own children fight each other in an arena, kill each other off, see who will be the victor of it, and we're gonna put it on television so you can watch it. That is what the Hunger Game is. It is very, very, very messed up, very depressing, but that's just kind of how this world works. It's very much, it's very much revenge driven, and very much hatred and fearful too, because the whole reason for Katniss to be in this series, to be the Mockingjay, because the Mockingjay is, especially because I've been like researching a lot about Hunger Games, and also wanting to make this video, so I've been watching a lot of videos on that. And like from my understanding, the Mockingjay. So basically, the jacking, there's the there are these species, jabberjays. There you go. There's these species called jabberjays that the Capitol made so they could spy on District 13 or on the districts themselves. But then they mated with other like these other like jays, and then it became the mockingbird. And so and basically the mockingbird, from my understanding, is a failed experiment gone wrong. And also kind of, the Capitol kind of putting the middle finger to the Capitol and saying like, ha ha ha, you didn't win this time, but we did. And so that's kind of why they also made Katniss the Mockingjay, and like they have a pin of it, and they were like kind of protesting that essentially. And why they made her the Mockingjay, why they made her the head of the rebellion, was because she was really the only one in the arena that people felt like they could really look forward to. And what I mean by that is because like I said, with the Hunger Games, only one person can win. Everyone has to die. Well, Katniss was like, well, then because there's this other guy that's in the arena with her, and she's like, well, if he's gonna die, if Peeta, that's his name, if Peeta's gonna die, then I'm gonna die with him. And so because, they have to go by the rules, and because the Capitol got offended that, they were eating these berries, that's why they made them basically dating each other and getting married to each other so they can silence her. But then the rivalry comes in. So it's really interesting, and also kind of the what is it? And then the prequel series is talking, this is what this new film is about. It's the prequel series, because like they made a book but they never made a film, so now they're finally making a film. So I'm excited for that. And the prequel series is talking about kind of the 10th, basically the 10th Hunger Games, and when President Snow was alive, and kind of talking more about his time, and also from what I understand of like other theories about the film, because the film didn't really come out yet, that there's this girl called she's part of the Covet, and what's her name? Her name is like I can't remember her name, but she's a really important character. I'm embarrassed I can't remember her name, but essentially she is, because there's only 2 people that win district. Well, 3 people technically, but before Katniss, because Katniss does win. Before Katniss, it was Haymitch, the one that helps them. Well, it's basically their coach, because each district like tributes has a coach, and Haymitch is the coach, so he won, and then this girl won. But the thing is, no one knows about this girl because they erased all of it, because in the end of that book, President Snow essentially killed her, even though they liked each other. Because at first he really liked her and he was trying to help her in the games, and then afterward he got paranoid and killed her. But a lot of people actually speculate that she's still alive, and that she's actually possibly President Coin from District 13. So, some people even think she's Katniss and everything. So, we'll see from this film. I'm not very sure, but I could see her as President Coin. I actually can. Because they really do have a vendetta against each other. It's like kind of weird how much of a vendetta they have against each other. So, those are just like some things that are part of the story, and that people are speculating about the story. But the thing of why I wanted to talk about this story, it's just that, first of all, I've read all of the books, I've watched all the films, I've seen reactions on it. Like, I really do love the series. Like, Hunger Game, the Harry Potter, and then the Hunger Games. I seriously just I absolutely love it, and the reason why I love Hunger Games is that even though it is very dark and there's a lot of death and murder, it's not necessarily about how many deaths there are in the series and about the violence. It's more about the heart and the message about it. And for me, it just really shows, like Katniss Everdeen, this young girl is, loves her sister, loves her mom, loves her family, and is really trying to, support her family and sees that her mom is not capable to support, which is insane to me. It's like a child has to literally go into the woods, which is forbidden, by the way, and like hunt, like. But that's just the situation she's in, and it just I don't know. She just really has a lot of strength and has a lot of inner strength in her, and I think that's also why so many people really really loved her and why she's just was a great figure for the rebellion, the people that are gonna go against the capital. Um, you know, she's just very inspiring. She's very sweet, and even though she's misunderstood in a sense, there's just, she means well. And I think that's the thing too, is like, with any person who is good and who is a hero, it doesn't mean that they always have to be essentially pure. Sometimes the most, broken characters are usually the most sweetest characters. And that just really shows with the series. And, at first she was just, she wanted to go by the rules and, she wanted to help her family because that was all that she thought that could help the family was, go by the rules. But then she's like, oh, maybe I should run away. And then she's like, no, I'm going to make my own rules. And that's kind of, in my opinion, kind of to the story is that at first she's just like, I have to follow by the capital, I have to follow, what everyone thinks of me or I can't survive. Like that's her whole instinct on the first two books is about survival. But then the third book, or the end of the second book and to the third book, it shows that she has a voice and that she cannot be silenced and that she needs to make a stand, right? And that she is allowed to be powerful in her own skin. And that's personally really, really empowering. And especially for a lot of us, people, especially people who are secure or that are just not secure of our own skin, for us, it's just, like, it's hard to see ourselves in a powerful light. So to see Katniss Everdeen and, seeing her story is just like, wow. That's a character. That's a character that you want to be empowered, that you want to be inspired to. Because personally, I like stories that don't necessarily have a black and white. I like more when it's gray and more when it's gritty and more when it's real. And I think that's also why I really liked Oppenheimer too, and I'll talk more about in the next installment. But it's also very much, and it's actually rated R, but it is very gritty and very dark and dirty, but it's also so cool, and it's real, and it shows like, this actually happened, and even though it was horrible, it's still like someone actually thought of creating it, and so that's also another thing about these type of characters like Katniss Everdeen. It's like, even though they're not necessarily perfect and even though they're not necessarily pure, it doesn't mean that they have to be. It just means that they have to at least want to be good and at least want to be empowered and at least want to do good, right? Because like there are bad people that had good intentions and there were good people that have bad intentions, So it's really just about finding the people with good morals and with morals and follow that. Because we all, if you really think about it, we all follow each other's footsteps. We all, try to be better, try to get better by looking at the other person. So, and she really just like resembles that like community and that empowerment. And even though her character does feel like sometimes she's just like, why me? Why me? Like there's a reason why, and it's because she knows, or she has this subconscious thing of being the leader that people need, not the leader that people want. Because I think there's a difference between wanting and needing. Wanting is more silly and fun, but needing is more serious and empowering, you know. So, it's just I really love this character, and I absolutely love just this story, and I don't know, I just think that this story is just so beautiful, so dark, so intense, but it really shows how because I will be making Naruto. I finally finished the Naruto series. Oh my god. What is this? Yeah, I watched all of Shippuden, all the main Naruto, all the films, so I will be talking about it. So excited. But kind of how I'll be talking for Naruto, like, you know, pain is what makes us human. Pain is what makes us a person. And that's essentially what, the Hunger Games is about. And what this series is about is showing that, you know, the way to grow and the way to learn is about experiencing something sometimes unpleasant, but because of that, it means that, okay, why did I learn unpleasantly? Why did I learn this pain? Oh, it's because to grow, right? And I mean, like, I do think there are other ways of growing without having to have pain, but most of the time, that's only an exception though, because most of the time, pain is part of the process. Pain is part of, pain is essentially the thing to tell you, like, that happened. So we either have to change that, or you're going to be stuck in this bored in this in this tension forever. It's like, do you want, like, think about it. It's like, you hurt your foot, and it's like, are you gonna cry that you hurt your foot, or are you gonna actually do something to heal your foot? And that's kind of what Naruto is talking about, and that's kind of what, you know, Hunger Games is talking about, is that revenge is never the answer, and that you have to be better than you were before. You have to be better than the other person. You have to have a different perspective, Like, you have to think outside of your own bubble. Because when we think outside of our own bubble, we get things done even more, we have a different perspective, and we have a different mindset. And I think it's always good to change your mindset. It's always good to keep your mindset open, because if you close it, then you won't see things in the other person. You won't be compassionate. You won't grow. And I just think, Naruto, Harry Potter, um, Hunger Games, like all of those series, it just really talks about how growth is so essential to the human experience, and that we need the growth to open our eyes to new possibilities and to new waypoints. Because if not, we will always be in the same spot, and we will never, essentially, quote unquote, die knowing that we did what we needed to do. We'll die thinking that we're the curse of our own world. And it's like, you don't want to be the villain of your own world. You want to be the hero of your own world. You want to be the hero to other people's worlds. So how do you do that, right? And I think it's all about perspective taking, all about getting outside of your bubble, and being the empowerment that you want to be, and that you feel like you need to be. Because essentially, we live in this society, and sometimes we have to be better than we were given. Whew, that was deep. I love it. But yeah, so that's kind of how I think about the Hunger Games and kind of what I understand, and especially from Katniss Everdeen, she just really is just something that I personally strive to, that I see myself as, and that I see myself as better. So yeah, so definitely let me know below uh, some more about this series, and if you guys are Hunger Game fans, and what you guys think about it, because it is a series for sure. I personally really like it. So yeah, okay, I will see you guys later.